What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. Welcome to my channel. Got another Week 9 preview prediction video for you on the slate today. We're going to be talking about the one from Lawrence that's going to take place this past weekend. It's the big noon kickoff game. We got, of course, the home team, the Kansas Jayhawks, looking to get back on track in the Big 12 after a couple of disappointing losses. But the Oklahoma Sooners come to town, one of the few undefeated teams left in the country, and right now the top team in the Big 12 trying to stay alive in the race for a spot in the college football playoff. We'll dive on into all that and more from Lawrence, but before we dive into that, I got to say thank you for all the support the channel has seen as of late. It does mean a lot to me, and if you guys want to continue to help show your support, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell if you haven't done so already so you know when videos get uploaded. That's the biggest way to help support me, but there are more ways than that. You're doing one of them right now by watching the video, and you can do more by liking, commenting, sharing, and anything else you guys feel like you need to do to help support the channel if you would like to do so. But enough about all that, enough about me. Now that that's out of the way, diving on into the Oklahoma Sooners and the Kansas Jayhawks. Should be a very interesting, very sneakily competitive football game here. I think Kansas has all the pieces it needs to be competitive. It was a very high-scoring, competitive affair in Norman last year, but the Sooners able to come out on top there 52-42 in a very high-scoring affair. I have a feeling this one is going to be a pretty solid game there as well. So let's go ahead and dive on into the stats that both of these teams have put up so far this season. And what else do you want me to say about this Oklahoma offense? It's one of the best offenses in the country at pretty much everything it does, right? Not just the statistical numbers of points per game, yards per game, and then your rush and passing yards per game there as well. This is a very balanced offense, but they're really, really good on third down. They don't turn the football over, and they prevent pressure to their quarterback in Dillon Gabriel. Only 8 sacks allowed so far on the season. Diving on into some of the stats from players here, Dillon Gabriel has really resurged and played really, really well for the Sooners this year. 2,131 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 3 picks on 71% completion percentage. The rushing attack is really able to get going with guys like Marcus Major, Walker, Gabriel has been a nice part of the run game there as well. And then taking a look at this receiving core, Jaleel Farouk, Andrew Anthony, Nick Anderson, Drake Stoops, all of those guys have been superb weapons. They're all over 300 yards receiving on the season, and they all at least have 1 receiving touchdown. It's an Oklahoma offense that really is just doing everything right, and while it has had its lapses here and there where, okay, maybe they haven't been able to drive down the field as effectively as they normally do. You saw a couple of those lapses last week against UCF. This is a really, really good offense that is going to give this Kansas defense a lot to think about. But speaking of defense, before we talk about the Jayhawks, we got to talk about the Sooners defense. And I was completely wrong on this defense there in the preseason. I didn't really see any reason to believe that Oklahoma's defense was going to get better, and Oklahoma has shut me up really, really fast. This is a defense that is playing really, really well right now. Granted, now it did have a couple of lapses against UCF. It had its lapses against Texas, but who won't have lapses against the Texas offense that is loaded, right? But this is an Oklahoma team that has mightily improved defensively. Got to fix some consistency issues still, especially within the secondary. Just a team that hasn't really quite found its groove in the secondary quite yet, although they are forcing a lot of turnovers in that secondary. Yes, they're letting teams drive down the field, but they had 12 interceptions so far on the season to go along with 3 fumbles. That makes 15 turnovers, and this is the defensive front that has generated 17 sacks on the season, led by their defensive lineman there in Ethan Downs. He has 4.5 sacks this year, and again, it's not just him. The sack production really coming from everywhere for this Oklahoma team, including those 2 star linebackers in Stutzman and Kanik that lead the way in tackling for this Sooner defense. They're also one of the best third down defenses in the entire country. They're at 28%. This is the defense that stepped up and is going to have its hands full against a very, very balanced Kansas offense. This team has weapons all over the field, and it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback, whether it's Jason Bean or whether it's Jalen Daniels. And again, we still don't know who's going to play quarterback for Kansas in this game, but no matter who it is, the offense has been flowing. 35 points per game, 440 yards per game, over 200 yards per game on the ground and through the air. Here and there, they've had some turnover trouble. Here and there, they've had some protection troubles, but they're normally really, really good in both. They're also one of the best third down offenses in the entire country at well over 50% at 53.4%. Now, the big storyline for this game is, yes, you have all the weapons, the running back duo in the backfield with Neal and Highshaw. You have the weapons out there on the outside with Lawrence Arnold, Quentin Skinner, Luke Grimm, even your tight end, Mason Fairchild there. And then, again, Neal is a great option out of the backfield to catch the football. But who is going to play quarterback for this team? Will it be Jason Bean? Will it be Jalen Daniels? Daniels has been trying to recover from some back problems, so we'll see if he's able to get in this game here. Has not played in a lot of the most recent Jayhawk games, so it has been Jason Bean, and while the offense has looked pretty solid, it definitely gets taken to another level when Jalen Daniels is at the helm. So Jason being a solid enough option, but if Jalen Daniels can come back, that's going to provide a big lift to this Kansas team. This is the defense that needs a big lift here in this game. You're going up against one of the most dynamic offenses in the country, and the defense, while it has seen its improvements in certain ways this year, especially in terms of generating pressure to the quarterback, you have 18 sacks on the year, you forced 9 turnovers, and the defense has shown up pretty well at times. For the most part this season, it's really, really struggled. And again, the thing that has plagued Kansas still has been able to defend outside of the numbers, outside of the hash marks. Basically defending the perimeter, which luckily for Oklahoma, they do that offensively really, really well. They love to stretch teams out and they work the sidelines to perfection. So this is the Kansas defense that's going to need to step up. Yes, it has a lot of very good playmakers on it, but it's going to have to find ways to step up. It's going to have to find ways to perform really, really well here if they want to be able to come out on top of this one and be able to slow down this Oklahoma offense, which leads me into my what to watch for keys to the game, just some things I think you should keep an eye on. While you're paying attention to this one, we will start with the 6th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners, the only unbeaten team left in the Big 12. Dillon Gabriel and company, I believe, are going to do more than enough. With the way that this Kansas defense has continued to struggle all season long, I think they're going to do well more than what they need to do to be able to win this game. The question is can this Oklahoma defense do enough to slow down the Kansas offense? You know that Gabriel and company are going to have their moments. They're going to take their shots, and they're going to score more than enough points than what they need to be able to win the game, and that's also going to need to continue there in the third down battle, right? You have a really good third down offense, so continue to convert those third downs. You're 50% on the year. That's the mark that you want to reach here in this game as well. But you're also a really, really good third down defense, so you got to be able to keep up the dominance on third downs, no matter if it's 3rd and long, which would really help, especially if Kansas has the football, or 3rd and short. You got to be able to continue to win those third downs battles, not let Kansas move the sticks, not give this offense some extra downs and extra time to work with. But again, back to Gabriel and company, too many dynamic weapons here. I think Kansas is going to have a very hard time defending all of these weapons at once. And it definitely, if Gabriel and this offense are on their A game, could lead to a long day for the Kansas Jayhawks. But this defense, right, this is what I've talked about and kind of what I alluded to earlier. The offense is going to do what it needs to do to be able to win the game. Will the defense do that? The offense was able to provide some really, really good moments last week against UCF, even though the defense was not up to standard. This is the defense that has to get back to what they were doing before their bye week. They got to play like they have been before their bye week to be able to slow down this Kansas attack, which leads me into the Kansas attack. And whether or not it's Jalen Daniels or Jason Bean, the offense is going to have to score often, because this is a dynamic Oklahoma offense. It doesn't matter if it's a 15-play drive or a 3-play drive that ends in a 78-yard pass play. Oklahoma is going to score points. Kansas is going to have to, at least at some points here in this game, match the Oklahoma offense stride for stride. You have to be able to, if Oklahoma scores, you have to drive out there with the mentality of, okay, this is a must-score possession. You got to be able to keep pace with Oklahoma in order to be able to have that defense force the turnover, force the takeaway, force the stop, to be able to have your offense drive down the field and win you the game if you end up getting in a situation like that. And speaking of the defense, can the defense provide pressure to Dillon Gabriel? They've done a pretty solid job of that throughout this year. 18 sacks. That's a very, very good number. Kansas has to continue to provide pressure. They have to continue to get through the opposing offensive lines, and there have been times this year where Oklahoma's offensive line has just not really been at its best. Kansas has got to take advantage of that. They got to look for that. They got to look for the mistakes, be able to make Oklahoma pay when you provide pressure to Gabriel. If you can force third down and longs, that just automatically, statistically, is going to drop the opposing team's third down percentage by a wide margin. So you got to force third down and longs, generate negative plays, and get Dillon Gabriel on the ground fast. But this is a defense that has to prevent the big plays, and it has to defend the perimeter. That's the biggest thing that Kansas has struggled with defensively, not only this year, but last season as well. And honestly, I don't know if Kansas is going to be able to do that as long as it needs to, right? So Oklahoma, you see here, is the favorite in this game for Vegas, for the FPI, and why shouldn't they be, right? They've been playing some really good football this year. I do think there are going to be moments in this game where it looks like Kansas is going to have the upper hand. And if Kansas ends up taking the lead here, do not be surprised. This is a very, very good and in a lot of ways very experienced Jayhawk team. But I do not believe this defense has shown me enough to lead me to believe that they're going to be able to defend what Oklahoma is going to be able to throw at them. That's a lot of fast plays. That is a lot of deep plays. And I just don't think Kansas's defense has the talent to be able to keep up with this Oklahoma offense. They will make some stops. They will generate some negative plays. They may force a turnover or two here as well. But Oklahoma is too explosive offensively, and I believe that defense takes a step up from what they did last week. So that leads me to say, I got Oklahoma winning this football game, and I know it's right on the line there, which those of you that are betting doesn't help out to hear my opinion, but you should make your own decisions anyway. Don't base your money decisions based on what I have to say. But I think 10 is just about right. I think this game is going to be close for the most part. Oklahoma uses some big plays late to pull away, and they win this one on the road in Lawrence. They survive yet another scare. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. But hey, as always, remember to play hard but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.